I want to start out with Oprah. I want to ask about Oprah because I want to figure out how we should move as a unit, as a family, as a collective. I remember when the R. Kelly thing popped off, I think Tyreek was one of the few people who was saying, after everybody said that R. Kelly was a monster, Tyreek Nasheed was saying, nah, F that, first them. Let's talk about what they did. And everybody would say, no, it's not about that. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Now it seems that everybody's seeing the chess moves that are being made, and no, the mainstream media or the people that control the narrative as far as mainstream is concerned, they're not worried about right is right and wrong is wrong. They're not worried about child predators, sex trafficking. They're worried about painting a picture and painting a narrative. And it's pretty much obvious, it's been obvious, but it's even more painfully obvious at this time that they want to paint a specific narrative of the black man as being the head of the Me Too movement or the predator. The main monster. So talk to me about this concept of talk to me about Oprah.
What was exposed with Oprah that had people uncomfortable was when there was some research done on the relationship that she had with the Geffens, the relationship that she had with corporate entities to actually bring down, and to do what she did to Michael Jackson. There was a conflict of interest that was exposed, right? Mm-hmm. Now,
wait, her relationship with the Clintons, the Epsteins,
yes, the Epsteins,
David
and the Weinsteins. Let's talk about this Steen thing that's going on in the Oprah close circle, right? Not people who she's affiliated to because of the barbecue, or people who she's affiliated to, at award ceremonies or just because. No, let's talk about her immediate circle. This is an immediate circle here. These are people who, tend to be around each other on holidays and significant days. And, they do things together. Well, Oprah and Mr. Weinstein, Miss Clinton, Mr. Bill Clinton, and the other guy, and Jeff Epstein, Jeffrey, they've rubbed shoulders on many occasions.
In intimate settings.
In intimate settings. And important. when you put a looking glass over each one of these cases or each one of these, situations, if you want to deal with sex trafficking, if you want to deal with organ harvesting, if you want to deal with all of the issues, pedophilia, to a place where it goes into the royal,
circles, right?
The royal circles, Buckingham Palace, right? Then you need to ask Oprah, well, where's the expose on these guys?
Right.
Why not?
Right. If you want to look at the vast global conspiracy and the people who at the top, then you see her complicity to be silent. When you look at the low-hanging fruit, right? Because these are people who have been bitten by the vampires, who are now perpetuating the biting. We're talking about the vampires. The vampires will not get necessarily touched, unless, of course, it's forced by people to do independent media. When you're talking about mainstream media is not going to deal with their inner circle because membership has its privileges. That's what you're looking at.
Wow.
You're looking at membership has its privileges. Who can we throw to the dogs and the wolves?
That's fact.
The niggas is not part of the membership. So that's all you see. What's so hard to get here? But at the end of the day, we started the year, right, by telling you on a spiritual note, right, because of what this 2019 year represented.
Fact.
It represented, man, the brother could speak about the frequency of the number 19. The divine feminine was coming back to see what responsibility was divine masculine willing to take up before you get awarded the keys to the mansion, because this is the Jubilee year. The black man failed to say, I will defend the black woman and her children. They said, look, them bitches got a hole at L. They knew what time it was with R. Kelly. That was the universe taking your temperature. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even saying that the universe is not working through an Oprah or a Gail or what have you. Because you're seeing these people and they're melanated and they come from circles of influence. Yeah, we like pointing the picture and saying, yeah, but first them. No, but what about the issues in this black family? Bottom line, point blank. When we gonna deal with that? Because we ain't got too much time before we head into 2020. And you can see the transfer of power has already taken place, cosmologically. But niggas will never know about that.
So you agree with Oprah? That's what you basically. What about the issues in the black?
I didn't say that.
It seems like you're what about black on black crime?
I didn't say I agree with the issue. I said I agree with Oprah per se. I said at the end of the day, politics is what politics is. You're gonna go for the low-hanging fruit. Media is not going to eat their own. It's not gonna happen. They didn't do it with Epstein. They're not gonna do it with the Clintons, right? So Oprah's in a position to take care of her friends. Like, you don't understand that?
No. I'm asking how should we move, not the media, but us seeing what's happening, our community. Should we have the first them mentality, or should we say, like you say, what about black on black violence? Like what you say?
I said, when are we gonna focus on the issues dealing with black family at the end of the day? Because we're missing the conversation. Same conversation that we started on this platform in the beginning of the year. I said, Joe, be aware of what's coming down the pipeline. It came down the pipeline. Niggas wasn't ready for that conversation, and they missed out on the opportunity to move as a unit to say, look, well, I'm willing to be responsible. Now you want to talk about how many thousands of black women is missing. Now you want to talk about organ harvesting. We was telling y'all this a long time ago. We was telling you about shit. Clintons and the spirit cooking, and because people have political affinities, it's the same way. You putting your nose in places where it don't belong. I'm not concerned with Oprah. You feel me? If you want to knock some predators down, form independent media in this community and take care of your own. Stop thinking Oprah's gonna come to your rescue. Oprah's going for the low-hanging fruit. Them niggas just ops. They ops.
Okay.
They ops.
And
you feel me?
Okay, Blue.
Now I'm just speaking from
and the
myself.
responsibility.
Okay, I got you, my brother. I got you.
For the people
I'm
who
just asking
says
questions.
first them, the responsibility definitely rests on the shoulders of our investigators, our researchers, where are our guild nobles? You know, where are our investigators? Are we giving it all up to Netflix and Disney Plus to tell us the stories? Are we giving it all up to these writers in Hollywood who write the movies like, you know...
Like American Gods. Like, we were just talking about that. And how they got rid of the black character.
Exactly. Or like how they brought in the LBGT agendaed writers on episode 6 of The Watchmen. Cole Bennett is his name. He's a writer along with Lena White, who's the writer of Queen and Slim. There's writing teams in Hollywood in control of the narrative. It's not about the producers, not about the director. It's the writing teams. Those writing teams came in during the Obama era. That's the people that are running around, and they are the ones who are making this thing do what it does. That's why Tyler Perry having a studio is an excellent thing, but we have to focus on writers' workshops.
You seen the Oprah?
No. Yeah. You told me how. Yeah.
We gotta focus on. We have to focus on writing teams, writers. They had the right in Harlem, right, with Leroy, with our brother Amiri Baraka.
Yes.
Right. They brought the writing.
Yes, they were the Renaissance.
The Renaissance through the writers, and then in Watts they had the writers.
Even the Harlem Renaissance.
But that's the wrong term to even use. It ain't writers, it's spellers.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Okay.
You talk about
That's another level.
Hollywood coded all the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
it's about spelling.
Jeff Epstein, this whole year, like Blue said, it started with surviving our Kells and them in January. We're ending it with Epstein pulling a Kaiser Sose. Right? He goes out the court crippled, and then he walks upright. Who pulls up on him? Tekashi, right? And the usual suspects take off into the sunset. This movie is wrapping up very interesting. This season finale to the Truman Show of 2019.
It's Weinstein.
Weinstein, yeah. I was saying Weinstein.
Epstein. That's the guy.
Oh yeah, Weinstein. Well, Epstein pulled
Weinstein.
Hold on, I'm not finished. Yeah. Tekashi picks up Weinstein.
Yeah.
They go to the same plane that the Irishman took when he went and took care of Hoffa.
Right. Relax, bro.
And who's the pilot? This is the Lolita Express, and it's Epstein.
Smoking Marathon OG.
That's right. So the investigative reporters amongst us, the quantum physicians. Remember, Everything that you're seeing is quantum. They started cooking in the X-Men, in the Avengers. Doctor Strange was on his quantum. Then Spider-Man introduced you to quantum. American Gods introduced
definitely
you to
Ant-Man.
quantum.
Definitely Ant-Man.
Ant-Man introduced you to quantum. We had the show Quantum Supremacy years ago, and I'm trying to explain to you in this magical world that we're going into. We're already in this chaotic chaos magic world. But order comes with that. In your pen, the way that you write yourself into the present, on some Dr. Manhattan thing, having conversations in the now, in the before, and in the future at the same time. Yeah. And this is the power of the pen. So we have, whatever Oprah is doing. She already, if you keep inviting her to the barbecue, that's on you. She already told you, she's gonna tell. She's there as an agent, right? Whoever brought her into whatever club that they brought her to, when they turn her color into purple, because she's part of the club. She's part of the club.
I want to talk to the queen. Thank you, my brother. I want to talk. I'm sorry, because I know, we're pressed with time.
No doubt.
But I want to talk to the queens in the room because they might have a different opinion than the males in the room in terms of Oprah.
No doubt. Please.
So I want to ask Mama Pill and Oracle, how do you feel about Oprah from a feminine perspective? Since it seems as though I'm hearing males saying first them or males saying there's a bigger agenda, does it make a difference to women that Oprah is targeting white men instead of black predators?
No, black men.
I'm sorry. That she's targeting black predators instead of so-called predators instead of the white so-called predators. I don't even know if I should say that, but just predators. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, personally, I'm not going to speak on Oprah and who she is. She just contains so much culture and history for people that I'm just leave her where she at. What I do have to say though is if you're a person, you're affluent, you have influence, you have resources, I would be very careful of how you use those resources to attack certain people. It doesn't matter if you're on top now, we all know tables turn. They always turn. So ain't no telling what position said affluent people are gonna be in said amount of time. So I would say that's my number one thing. I would be very careful about who you try to hunt down. That's my one thing. Now to go back to what you were saying in regards to them first or us first, my personal opinion, my morale is at a very high level when it comes to my people. I'm always gonna know if my people are getting over on me. I'm not gonna be able to know that the tricks and the trades that different ethnicities use to get over on people. I don't know what Indians do to get over. I don't know how Arabs work, but I do know how my people work. And I do know, I can tell when a Negro was trying to play me. So all day, our people first. Anytime you're trying to fix a problem, and people are going to be up in arms about that, but anytime you're trying to fix a problem, you should always assume responsibility in order for you to completely fix that issue. There's no way for you to fix an issue if you don't assume responsibility in some way, shape, or form or another. You have to assume the responsibility. So yes, our people need to swallow their pride and realize that there are molesters in our community. I'm completely over it. I go in a rage about things like this because it is ridiculous. There needs to be some type of hardcore punishment for molestation, for pedophilia, for rape, for any kind of sexual assault that is privately done within our community, unspoken, no questions asked. I don't want to hear it. All these thugs, sit your behind down. If you're not doing anything to protect our women, I do not want to hear that ruggish, duggish snuff, because I'm going to cap you in the street just like a white person or an Asian or anybody who tries to come and attack me. You get capped just as quick.
Males and females.
Males and females, yeah, because sometimes the females are even more aggressive with you when they're trying to assault you. So, what I have to say about that is us first all day. People, I talk to people and they always talk, why are they coming after R. Kelly? I don't give a darn about R. Kelly. R. Kelly is nothing to me. Y'all should have been canceling R. Kelly when y'all saw the videos back in the day and there was a whole sex tape, child pornography floating around grown men in the barbershop watching child pornography. Now all of a sudden a documentary comes out at the beginning of the year, and yes, I watched the documentary, and it wasn't until that documentary aired that there was all this investigation. FBI got involved, Cook County got involved, Illinois, all of these things things started to happen after they saw the pain of the black woman, and our pain had to be exploited yet again for you to realize somebody in the community is firework. There's no way I would have let my daughter go on tour with an R. Kelly. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We don't specifically have a code to protect predators. It's been an unsilent, subconscious thing that's been inherent within the community or the lack thereof of a community. But I think also what needs to be dealt with is it's not just R. Kelly when you're looking at the Oprah narrative. It's the new documentary on Russell Simmons, and then it's the Michael Jackson documentary as well. And although like 2019 is that year of subconscious, it is that year of, you know, raising that frequency of femininity, so the women are doing what they're supposed to do. The problem is when you look at Oprah, you're not just looking at a black iconic woman. You're looking at an elite figure that plays into an agenda of someone else's community. So she doesn't work for us. So when we're looking at that, to me, seeing Oprah create anything is the same thing as seeing a rich white man create something. You know, and so if the face of those documentaries was some rich white man or some rich white woman, the attack will be the same thing, as saying that how come you're not creating equality across the board if this is a morality situation and you're for the human family, because Oprah has never just been for black people. So she can't direct attacks just to the black community when she has never said that she's just for the black community. It can't come at just in the points of her aggression. You understand me? So Oprah as a figure plays in secrecy with these white men behind closed doors. There was an article that came out on how she is privy in these conversations where they make decisions about the world that no one gets to know about in her billionaire circles. So in these conversations, if she's going to be going at the iconic figures, these same conversations are happening, but her influence is not some black man or some black woman, and by consideration of black, I'm talking about those who have that attachment to that originality, that original frequency, that triple darkness, that righteousness. So Oprah also had the narrative of abortions for black women, and her influence is gay white men, rich white men, and white women. It is not our community, and I don't believe she served the best interests of our community, so we don't have any social contract with Oprah. So Oprah has had a long history of defending by not speaking against the sexual assault or sexual predators that come out of these elites. She hasn't talked about Harvey Weinstein, who just settled $25 million. So that means that she's protecting them by putting propaganda, which is what it is. It's propaganda the same way Hillary Clinton created the super predator narrative of the black man. She's the new Hillary Clinton creating the super predator when her elite friends should be the face of
the
this
Russell Simmons story is propaganda?
It's propaganda in the sense that it's adding to the narrative of the black man being the super predator. You understand me? It's propaganda the same way when you looked at 9/11. White men were the face of terrorism right before 9/11 with Timothy McVeigh. They switched it over to Muslims. The same way if you see a Harvey Weinstein with rich elitist friends as Oprah and Bill Clinton and dresses and all kind of stuff, and then instead of that being the narrative and breaking down that whole structure of power and exposing that trade, instead of that, we're going to make a documentary about Russell Simmons, who was a friend of Oprah. You understand me? So you have to look at why is this being important size when this deals with the whole power structure that can open up. This doesn't deal with the power structure. And yes, we need to deal and kill black men in our community that sexually assault, rape, that does anything comparing to the sex trafficking, this pimping shit. All of it got to be taken out in our community. But we have to do things strategic, because you can't play up into a narrative that these young men are looking up into and say that these young boys who are impressionable boys saying that, oh, black men are fucking predators out here. It makes them not want to be a black man. You understand me? So that's the same thing with all these movies do and all these agendas, why we be so heavy on the movies, because it plays into an overall narrative. It seems as a singular thing, but this plays as a small piece into the bigger picture, which is how you subconsciously program the people. So it's very, very dangerous, because it's not one thing, it's all of it that plays into the movies, that plays into the media, that plays into the entire culture. And we are our worst oppressors at this point. You understand me? So I believe that when we talk about Oprah, we have to first ask, is she even part of the culture anymore? You understand me? Because we can't talk about her as she's still at the family table. No, Oprah is the elitist. So she plays into the agenda of the Jewish media. She plays into the agenda of the elitist media. And she works for them, not us. So anything that she does should be scrutinized. You know what I mean? Even though, like I said, there's a part 2 coming out. We don't need a fucking part 2. We know the nigga guilty. You know what I mean? You gonna spend more millions of dollars to create part 2 propaganda when you could have created that part 2 on Harvey Weinstein. Okay. So that's where we see the equality not being effective.
Let me get up.
And why are we saying that? Is Oprah behind the production of the R. Kelly documentary? Dream Hampton did that. Yeah. So we're speaking about Gayle King, who was a host on the.
We're talking about Oprah with the Michael Jackson.
We're speaking about. I know.
And went from Michael to Russell.
And she's often mentioned with the narrative dealing with R. Kelly because Gayle King did the interview. Yeah. Gayle King didn't go to R. Kelly's home to do that interview. I mean, like knock down his door. They came to her and set an interview up, and they bombed on the interview. That's Oprah's fault. That's Oprah's fault because her girlfriend or her friend interviewed a dude that did the worst PR stunt ever.
So you're defending Oprah?
I'm not defending her. I want us to make like logical sense of what we're saying because we have the tendency to lump people in without putting things into proper perspective. And I've been getting into a lot of situations based on people not putting things into proper perspective. You dig what I'm saying?
What perspective is there not to understand what Oprah is doing? She's clearly making a move, and the move is not in your favor for a brother that looks like you. Wouldn't you agree?
I think the reason she's back in media is because of the Russell Simmons things that popped up. And that's where 50 Cent took the narrative and was saying that, why the hell is you going after bruh when there's a line of more white men that you can go after that you personally know and have relationships with?
So I
you understand me? Unless she
decides something. Because I think she beat this horse dead. Yeah. So let me say this. As a black woman, what makes me feel good is when black men, you ask a question like you just asked, what makes me feel good is the first thing out of the black man's mouth is, my number one job is to make sure you protect it. I'll die for you. This is unacceptable. Nobody should be putting their hands on you. Nobody should be touching you sexually without your consent. Say that first, then continue what you're saying after that to go and say, yo, Oprah not fair and this and that. Because at the end of the day, what a black woman, what I want to know from my black man is, you're going to die for me, you're going to protect me, and that we're in this together.
Right, we're not getting around to that part of the
we're not getting to that point because we're trying to sit up and talk about Oprah, who is a single black woman, who I've never known her to have a husband or to keep a man, and we're not talking about Stedman because I want you to be real in love. Show up at the red carpet with your man all day. This my husband, I love you, kiss you in the mouth, everything. She has not shown that kind of love, so we can't even begin. I'm sorry, we can't even begin to use her as a scapegoat for what's happening in our community. No, black men need to say,
assaulted by a black man.
I don't know why we having this conversation because Color Purple Ben came out.
There you go.
So, like, Color Purple Ben came out. We all seen it.
And she showed us.
And
that was Alice Walker's.
Yeah, but she was behind that as well. Like she remember Oscar for that? It's Steven Spielberg.
She showed us
behind that.
She showed us who she was in Color Purple.
She wasn't behind that. She was hired as an actress by Quincy Jones, who saw her when she was working in Chicago. He's the one who said, I want that person to play
what's Harpo's wife?
Yeah, but she carried that narrative on from Color Purple throughout her career.
That became
that became her in Hollywood.